questions to David on the issues that you think he should be questioned on. Frank, you want to start?
David, rip-roaring speech. I'm Frank Delvecchio. I've got two questions on your systemic failures. You're equating our charter as an anachronism, not up with the times, and you specifically said that the low salaries can attract three types of candidates, and you focused on candidates who are prepared to be corrupt. On that systemic failure that you assert, do you have any evidence, especially in Miami-Dade County or anywhere, that higher salaries are really, of elected officials, are really an antidote to corruption? And then the second part. You pointed out that the beach has relatively low voter turnout. And as a consequence, unions, police and fire unions and other unions, are able to exert undue leverage on elections by turning out voters, and probably by setting up PACs that will fund them. You were focusing on the charter. What charter changes, or what other changes of law would you propose to remedy that particular systemic failure?
Excellent question, thank you. I should have mentioned this. It should not be assumed that I want our politicians to get rich. I want our politicians to be paid enough to eat. Because when people have money to eat, they typically don't steal. What more proof do you need than Alex Dow? You mentioned Alex. At least Alex is a reform crook. For every reform crook, we have 100 crooks running around who have yet to be caught. Alex mentions in his book how he began as an ideological young man, fed up with the system, as many of you should be even more so fed up today, wanting to change it for the better. But Alex had bills to pay, like every human being has bills to pay. Politicians are people, they have bills to pay. And he was straight out of law school. He was barely paying his student loans. He was barely paying his rent. Someone like that, even when they're ideological, is very easy to corrupt. A simple salary of, and mind you, I would not be able to legally benefit from this. So, don't misconstrue anything. I'm not doing this to pay myself. I'm going to make $10,000 a year for the next 2 years, and then I'm out of it. Because I can't afford to stay much longer. I'm not going to become a worker, nor am I corrupt. But $36,000 a year for a mayor. Again, this is no longer a part-time system. 80 years ago, it was proper for a mayor to work 5 to 10 hours a week. You can't be mayor of Miami Beach nowadays. Even if you think you can't be mayor of Miami Beach nowadays and work just 5 to 10 hours a week. It's at least a 20, 25-hour week job that pays $10,000 a year. Pay them enough to eat, $36,000 for mayor, something like that. $28,000 per commissioner. Okay? Let it be known they're expected to work 25 to 30 hours a week, so people know what they're getting into. The system fosters corruption. It's like a big neon sign. Come here, we pay you nothing, but we got all these buildings going up, we have all these contractors that take you out to dinner, we have private conversations with you, hint, weekly. Next thing you know, we have politicians making $10,000 a year, living on mansions in Sons of Harbor Island. So that's what happens. Frank, do you have another? What's another aspect of that question? Oh, Frank. That's what. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. You have answered my question before I asked you. I just wanted to know that I used to work for the federal government and I was the president of the Union of Federal Employees. I have questions for the elected speaker that refuse to answer or divert to another question. My question is, when they give salaries to the employees in the city of Miami, do they read the schedule of the federal salary? Because some of these people make more money than the president of the United States.
After overtime, I think there's at least 5 or 6 employees who make more money than the president of the United States of America. I'm sorry, what's your question? Am I reading or
Yeah, the question is, the contracting. I suggested that we should have a commissioner or somebody to control the contracting business. As per newspapers that they use, it's a racket. They never finish in time, they double the price. So you generate somebody in church to employ for this robberies?
100%. That's exactly what it is, it's robbery. Would someone like to tell me why we paid $15 million for the South Point Park project at flood zone less, when the obvious market value was $7 to $8 million? Highway robbery. Thank you, sir.
First of all, I want to thank
Thank you,
you
sir.
and Elsa for attending our Black History Month affair yesterday with like 75 people. Winston, you were very articulate and you would pose a serious challenge to Mayor Farrer because you are articulate. Three questions. Do you believe we should have an ombudsman to investigate all the corruption? Number two, 11:30, I have a meeting with the buildings department after 3 weeks. I have asked, which of those buildings received violation? Which of them paid fines? Which of them did not pay fines? Now it's 3 weeks before I got to the building department. And finally, you were at my lunch affair yesterday. If elected, and we had this once before, would you try and find money for a limited Department of Elder Affairs? The city does practically nothing. There were no city employees. They were all notified